Hello, I'm Jack Shannon, President of Christian Brothers University, and I want to thank you for affording me this opportunity to speak with you today. I'd like to begin my remarks with a series of thank yous. First and foremost, to the wonderful group of campus facilities, maintenance, grounds, and housekeeping staff who have been working tirelessly over the course of the summer to make sure that our campus is ready for the safe and much anticipated return of our students come this August. They've been doing remarkable work, and I want to acknowledge the contributions that they make day in and day out to our LaSallian community. Another group of our staff will be returning to campus this coming Monday as part of our phased reopening of the CBU campus. They've been working hard throughout the course of the summer, even though it's been remotely. Those are faculty members that have been teaching online classes as part of our summer session, or they might have been preparing for their course and lesson plans for the fall semester, which will begin in August. Our staff have been making sure that everything is in place for all of our students when they return so that we can provide them with the high-quality education that CBU is well known for. I also want to thank our donors and our alumni for checking in with us, making sure things are going well here at CBU, for your expressions of concern for our campus community, and for the support that you've provided to our Emergency Student Needs Fund, as well as many other causes here over the course of the summer. Also would like to thank our students and their families. You have been remarkable in continuing to support the work that we're doing here. You went through a very difficult spring. The transition to remote learning was not an easy one for you, but you persevered and you did incredibly well, as you've always done in the classroom. Those students that will be joining us for the first time, your spring was not a great one either. You lost out on a number of traditions, whether or not it was prom or spring break or graduation. We feel your pain. Many of us are parents ourselves, and we've gone through the same thing with our family members, whether they're children, nieces, and nephews, or grandchildren. We promise you that we will try to do our best to make up for that loss in your lives by providing you the sense of community that I know that you want to have and that you value and cherish, and that's the reason why you chose CBU when you arrive here in the August. Last but not least, I want to thank the Christian Brothers, the community of men that live and reside on this campus, as well as those around the globe who educate 1 million students per year. Your work is remarkable. We are building upon it here year in and year out at CBU. And I want to thank you personally to the brothers who reside in Lambert Hall for the counsel and guidance, assistance, and prayers that you've offered me over the course of the last several months. And you've done the same for our campus community. You are special men. You have done remarkable work, and you continue to do so. And it means so much to me that as we build upon the work that you have done, we continue to have your support and assistance. I'd like to talk about a few news items before I move on to talking about our reopening of campus for the fall semester. Many of you know that this past Monday, ICE made a directive regarding our international students that they could not be in this country if there was only online learning offered by a university or college which they were attending this fall. I want to assure our international students of a few things. One is we are coming back in person, and even if we need to transition at some point, we'll continue to have a blend of hybrid courses that will satisfy the legal requirements that you need to have to complete your studies here at CBU. You also know that this past week we have seen Harvard and MIT, matter of fact yesterday, file a lawsuit challenging the ICE directive. I, on behalf of CBU, have joined the amicus brief in support of the action being taken by Harvard and MIT. We may not have as many international students as those two institutions, but I want to assure you that we value our international students. We have a culture of inclusivity and diversity here at CBU that is cherished by our campus community. Our international students make this the special place it is. we have alumni around the world who have benefited from a CBU education and have paid that forward. We want to continue to have that pipeline of students coming to CBU, many from LaSalle institutions from around the world that make this such a special place. The global presence of the Christian Brothers and the Institute cannot be underemphasized by me. We are global citizens. That's who we are as LaSallians. So if I might digress for a moment, I'm hopeful that soon we'll get past what seems to be consuming our world, and us versus them mentality. That's never been the way it has been here at CBU. That's not part of how we view the world and our fellow men and women as LaSallians. And quite honestly, if anything has come out of this global pandemic, it's the fact that we're all in this together. And I hope that more of us will be able to continue to exhibit and maybe instill in others the LaSallian values of together and by association, we will work to build a better world. Exciting news on the communications and marketing front here at CBU is yesterday we launched a new website for the university. Now, websites may not seem to be that exciting to some of you because we all have to deal with them day in and day out. I know for a fact my family has been doing a lot more website usage to buy things delivered by Amazon, FedEx, and UPS, among others. However, for a university in today's world, a website is the front door. It's how many of our prospective students and their families come to know about us. So we're very excited by the launch of the new website. It has a clean, fresh feel to it. It contains the information that our students and families are looking for. And it also tells the story in terms of videos and photography and content of CBU in an exciting, new, and I think compelling way. I want to acknowledge the work of our colleagues in communications and marketing, particularly Vice President Leslie Graff and the consultants who worked on the project for the great work that they did on this for us. Another exciting thing that we launched this week was our Student Success Initiative. Some of you may have heard me say in the past that I believe we at CBU have a moral obligation that once we admit a student, to graduate her or him within 4 years. Now, obviously, as students, they need to live up to their end of the bargain. But why do I say that? Well, number one, the cost of a college education, in spite of our best efforts to maintain affordability, is not cheap. It's a lifelong investment that pays off over the course of a lifetime, but it's a pretty substantial one. So any time that we can make sure that students graduate within 4 years, that has them avoiding having to take on an added year's cost, which really is not only a cost to them in terms of loans and expenses, but also 1 year lost of income for them and their families. The other reason I say that is if we don't graduate students within 4 years, the likelihood of them attaining the dream of a college degree diminishes with each passing semester. The reality is that if you graduate within 4 years, lots of good things happen. If you slip into a 5th or 6th or 7th year, the prospects of you attaining your degree diminishes with each passing day. I want to make sure that that does not happen here at CBU. We want to have our graduation rates, our retention rates, our persistence rates increase because that is where we need to be. We deliver a high quality education. It's important that our students take advantage of that in a timely fashion. So we've launched the Student Success Initiative that's being led out of my office with the help of our VP for Academic Affairs, Paul Haught, and our Dean of Academic Services, Jessica King. The idea is for all of us as a campus community to work even more effectively on behalf of our students, to provide proactive advising, to make sure that they have the resources they require at exactly the point they need it to make sure that they continue on the path to graduation. I want to thank in particular the Assisi Foundation and the Buckman family for providing matching dollars that have been leveraged by the university and augmenting the resources we have to launch this initiative. Over time, because of the increase in graduation and retention rates, this will pay for itself and will become financially self-sustaining. But that investment made by the Assisi Foundation and the Buckman family is incredibly important for getting this exciting initiative off the ground. Let's talk and change course for a second to what everybody is probably tuning in and wanting to hear from me. What are we doing to prepare the campus for a full reopening in August? Well, first and foremost, we continue to work on all of our buildings and our grounds to make them ready for the return of our students in early August. That includes things such as painting, building new spaces, cleaning air ducts, repairing and upgrading HVAC systems, a lot of things that are important. You may not see them necessarily, but they are critically important, particularly in the current environment, to ensuring that we have a healthy and safe environment for our students, our faculty, and staff. In the area of dining, we're going to continue to build upon the healthy options that we introduced this spring for our dining hall. We'll continue to have made-to-order options. The omelet station, the waffles, and other things that we offered this fall will continue to be in place, and we'll be expanding those choices as well. We are getting rid of the salad bar. It's something that just doesn't make a lot of sense in today's environment, but we will have made-to-order salads as well as takeout items for our students, faculty, and staff. I want to acknowledge the team at Aramark for the continued great work that they're doing to upgrade our facilities, to make the accommodations so we have safe social distancing, and at the same time making sure that we have a wide range of healthy and nutritious options for our students. In our residence halls, we continue to prepare the rooms for occupancy by those who will be living on campus come August. We are making sure that we set them up with safe social distancing. We are doing deep and intensive cleaning of the facilities. They probably never have looked cleaner, quite frankly, since these buildings have opened up here in CBU. And we'll continue that maintenance throughout the course of the year. We will be doing cleanings not only of our bathrooms within our residence halls, but all of our common areas and all of our classrooms. With regards to common areas and classrooms, all of those will be done on a daily basis to ensure the safety of our students, faculty, and staff. And we'll also be providing cleaning supplies and other measures to allow for the users to make sure that they're safe. Another part about what we're going to be doing in instruction is we're going to have assigned seating. Now, for some of you who are tuning in, you might remember that if you went to Catholic school back in the day. Why are we doing that? Well, quite frankly, we want to make sure that folks are there in class and that they are safe and comfortable in their surroundings. And if, God forbid, we were to have a student test positive for COVID, we would be able to track and trace and provide the care that students would need in a very intelligent manner. Along those lines, we've been working very closely with Shelby County Health Department. Earlier today, I had a conversation with Dr. Alyssa Haushalter. It's part of an ongoing series of conversations that she's been having with me and colleagues here at CBU. I want to thank Vice President for Advancement, Mark Billingsley, who also wears another hat as the chair of the county commission here in Shelby County, for facilitating those meetings and discussions. We've gotten invaluable guidance and advice from Dr. Haushalter and her colleagues, and we continue to rely upon that on a daily basis as we put in place our plans and continue to revise them as needed to make sure that we can have a healthy and safe reopening of our campus in August. We also have an exciting new partnership for expanded services in health and wellness that I'll be telling you more about in our future conversations. It'll be exciting because we will have expanded services for our student athletes when it comes to athletic training, as well as for their health and wellness. We also will have expanded mental health services for our students, as well as more of a presence on campus in the way of direct medical services that will be available, augmented by telehealth services as well. For parents who might be tuning in today, I know that is reassuring, I'm sure, to you to hear that we are making that investment and we take seriously our commitment to you and your students to provide for their safety and well-being. We also are working on daily checks. As individuals come to campus, we have a self-certification that every individual who is here on a daily basis including, by the way, our vendors and contractors who are working here right now, have to complete, and then we also are doing temperature checks. We will augment those with the help of the county health department with testing, tracking, and tracing. I'll talk more about that in a second as we reopen the campus. International students, I talked a moment before about the ICE directive. We're also working with those students to ensure that they have their visas renewed so that they can return to campus. It's a challenging time in terms of getting visas renewed, not because our students aren't doing the right thing, but in many cases in their home countries, either the U.S. Embassy or consulate is overwhelmed with the demands placed upon them, or it might be a governmental issue as well. I want to thank and acknowledge Dr. Mary McConnor and Dr. Karen Barnett Conway for the work that they are doing to ensure the safe return of our students and making sure that those impediments are out of the way. Next week, I will be talking to our congressional delegation to make sure that those issues, along with other ones that we need to address for the safe reopening, are dealt with. I want to thank our congressional delegation for the support they provided through the CARES Act previously. It was invaluable to us in providing a rebate to some of our students as we transition to remote learning. It also allowed us to make a number of changes that made the campus safe and allowed us to provide quality education during that period. And I'm hopeful that they will also support the HEROES Act as modified by the Senate, so we have the resources in place to ensure that our future remains as safe and as prosperous as well. Last but not least, our DACA students. I'd like to talk about them for a second. Like our international students, like our students who come from out of state or from within Mountain or Shelby County, they are incredibly valued by us. They got some good news earlier in the year regarding their status from the Supreme Court. We continue to work with them and others to ensure that they have a fair and legal path to immigration. They will do the right thing. They've always done the right thing. It's just by happenstance of where they were at an early age, their parents brought them into this country. They've done everything we expect of American citizens. They want to get citizen status. We need to provide them that pathway. And at CBU, working with the DREAM US and others, we will continue to work and advocate for immigration reform. It's necessary in this country for a variety of reasons, not the least to provide that pathway for our students. We are working with them to ensure that in the meantime, all the paperwork and renewal applications need to be submitted to maintain their continued DACA status are being done by our students. And I want to thank the colleagues around campus who are working with those students on that initiative. Where do we stand right now? Our recommendation continues to be that we move forward towards an in-person return to campus in early August. It's not an easy thing for us to do, and I'm not saying there's any right or good answer at this point, but I'll tell you why we're continuing to move forward along that pathway. One, it's the right thing to do for our students. Our students benefit from being here on campus. Now, there are others that, quite frankly, can get an online education. There are institutions that do that incredibly well, and I know people that have benefited from an online education. That's not what we do at CBU. That's not who we are. Part of an education, and some would argue a very critical part of a CBU education, is to have that on-campus experience, to learn from others, to engage with others, to build a sense of community with individuals from diverse backgrounds. That's the LaSallian way. That's how we've done things for decades here at CBU. And it's important for our students to have that benefit. The other reason why it's important for us to be here together and by association on campus is that for our students, many of them, this is a safe place. This is a place of refuge. This is a place where they can grow and they can develop and sometimes fall, fail, and get back up with the support that they need. We take them away from that, that success factor is not always going to be there. So it's important that we try our very best in a responsible manner to provide that sense of community for them. This is also the right thing, I believe, for our institution to do. We are of a size, and with that LaSallian community and that shared perspective that we're all in this together, that I think if any place can do this and do it right and safely, it's CBU. Not going to be easy. It's not going to be without risk. There are many risks in this world, and I think right now we are all tired of dealing with the risk. But I don't see for the foreseeable future those risks mitigating in a large extent. And in the meantime, we have to continue to do the work we do. I believe if we continue as we've been doing, making sure that at the very front of mind are the safety and well-being of our students, faculty, and staff, that we'll be able to continue along this pathway to reopening. Last but not least, and this is particularly important, I believe moving forward towards reopening the campus is the LaSallian thing to do. It's what our founder would have wanted us to do. St. John Baptist de La Salle went through a number of challenges in providing education to then the young men of Reims, France. Today, it's not just young men, but also young women as well, whom we educate at CBU. It wasn't easy for St. John Baptist de La Salle and those early brothers, and it certainly isn't easy for us. But if anyone needs to have the benefit of a CBU education, preferably being in person, it's the young men that we serve, young men and women that we serve in his name today. Now, let's talk a little bit about going forward. While I said that's the pathway forward, we have not yet made a final no-go decision. We will be doing that shortly. In the meantime, we will continue as we've been doing since the outbreak began in spring, monitoring on a daily and sometimes hourly basis campus, local, and statewide COVID-19 situations and circumstances. I was cautiously optimistic last week here in Shelby County. The numbers were starting to trend back down. Then we had one day where it moved back up. We need to all together work to make sure that we get these numbers down and to really bring down the curve. And that's going to require not just individuals here at CBU, but our larger community. So that's why we need to continue to track those numbers, consult with the county health department, and do the right thing, because that's what we do as LaSallians at CBU. We also will continue, and this is part of it, having comprehensive, continued, and consistent communication of our plans. We are doing that with the help of Dr. Colby Taylor, the president of our faculty assembly. We are doing it with all of our deans and the other members of our academic community, through our vice presidents, through our board of trustees, whom I want to thank, because I know you didn't sign up for this. You don't get paid for the work you do at CBU, but you have been an invaluable resource to me and my colleagues in providing us guidance, asking us the tough questions, and providing us the support as we go through this very challenging time for our community. We also will need to have the critical, important buy-in and support of our LaSallian community. As I said before, if any place can do that, I believe we can here at CBU, because we are all LaSallians, whether or not we are Roman Catholics or otherwise. It's what we do as a community. We care about each other, we think about each other, and we act not only in our own self-interest, but in the interest of our fellow LaSallians. Near-term actions as we continue this process until we make the point of a final decision is we are working with our employees on accommodations for those who have health issues, either themselves or maybe a member of the household, or other reasons why they feel at this time they cannot return to campus. We are also beginning to work to make sure that those of our university community who have children of a pre-K or K-8 age have the accommodations they need. A lot of schools are making decisions at the same time we are. Some are choosing to return to campus. Others are coming and saying we're going to have only remote learning. As a parent myself, I know how important it is that you provide for your child. At this point, I don't have a school-aged student. My daughter is safe and well here with Denise and me in Memphis. She's 25 now. We're very proud of her. And she's doing work remotely for her employer in New York City. But just because she's 25 doesn't make me forget how we felt when she was of school age, and just how important it is for our children to have a safe environment. So we'll be working with our colleagues here to make those accommodations. And we'll tweak them because I'm sure they're not going to be perfect initially. But I want you to know that we are committed, as we've always been here at CBU, doing right not only by our students, but our LaSallian colleagues who are educators in this community. We're going to continue to collect our student health insurance information to make sure that it's on file so that our students have access to the services they need. And we're updating all of our student contact information. Next week, we're going to launch the next phase of our Together and by Association calling campaign. We'll be reaching out to all of our students as we did in the spring to make sure that they're doing well. We've been doing that periodically already, but this is a comprehensive, making sure that we address every student. And we'll be talking in some cases to their family members as well to make sure that they're on the path to return here to CBU. As I mentioned earlier, we're coordinating with Shelby County Health to make sure that we have the wide array of health resources we need at this time. And that includes testing, tracking, and tracing resources, and we'll be working with the fine people from Shelby County Health, Dr. Alyssa Hossolder and her colleagues, to make sure that we have those in place for a safe return and continued presence here on campus. Later today, I'll be meeting along with other Memphis University College presidents with Mayor Jim Strickland, the mayor of the city of Memphis. We're going to be talking about what we are doing to encourage a safe reopening. I want to acknowledge the County Health Department, Commissioner Billingsley and the County Commission, as well as Mayor Strickland, for making the very tough decision earlier this week for a temporary closure of our bars here in Memphis. Now, I will say that personally, I know the personal cost that's involved with that closure decision. One of my nephews is an actor-waiter in the New York City area. And both the theater as well as restaurants have been adversely impacted by the outbreak in that area. Colin has had to struggle as a result because his employment has not been consistent as a result of the COVID and pandemic. I want to make sure that those families are taken care of, but the reality is we've seen spikes when we've had the bars reopen, and we also here at CBU have to think about our campus community. It wasn't the easy decision, but I want to acknowledge those individuals and Mayor Strickland for making the tough decisions as you've done throughout your tenure here, and I want to thank you for your support. Last but not least, we're creating what we're calling the CBU Pledge or Compact document that all of our students, faculty, and staff will be expected to review and sign. What is going to be contained in that document? It's a clear understanding of what the rules are going to be here for us to have not only a safe reopening, but a continued safe operation of the campus throughout the fall semester. A lot of those will be rules that we already know are in place. A lot of those things will be the very same as what we've been hearing. Wash your hands, make sure you wear a mask, and do all the other things to be mindful of the fact that we're living in some very challenging times. And some of those will be new and added safeguards, but we want everyone to understand what's expected of us as individuals so that together and by association, we can make it through these challenging circumstances. I don't know if we have any questions at this time. We do, so I'm going to check and see. So I have, one is I'd like to hear the pro-mask statement again this week. One of our faculty members has asked me. Let me be clear. I'm only not wearing a mask right now because I have safe social distancing, and I am right now in a space where I need to make a speech, and I wanted to make sure there was clarity in what I was saying. I wear this mask both in meetings here with my colleagues as well as when I go outside on the campus. That expectation will be the same for everyone who comes on our campus. It's what we do right now for all of our faculty and staff. It's what we're going to expect of our students. And it's what we expect of anybody who comes on campus, visitors, vendors, or contractors as well. It's the smart thing to do. I wear my mask day in and day out for you and your benefit, as well as the benefit of your families and for others as well. You in turn are expected when you're here, and I know everyone has been doing this because I walk around the campus, to do the same for me and my family and my neighbors. It's the LaSallian thing to do. We've been doing these kind of things for so many years that I believe asking someone to wear a mask is not only the right thing to do from a public health perspective, but it's also the thing that we will embrace as a community because it is the right thing for us to do for each other. Another question I have is on-campus testing with results within 24 hours, asking me whether or not we will be having that. We are moving forward with Dr. Haushalter on protocols. They will involve testing. It not only will be testing of those who display symptoms, but we're looking at putting in place a testing protocol before we reopen the campus and individuals return. We have to have that within a certain time frame to have validity. We're also looking at quick testing. There's now batch testing that is available. That was one area that we are having conversations with the Shelby County Health Department and others making available here. I want to provide assurances. I believe, based upon my conversations with elected and appointed officials from both Shelby County as well as the City of Memphis, and the support we've received from the state of Tennessee through the Tennessee Independent Colleges and Universities Association, we will have those resources here in place. We will do everything possible to have a quick turnaround. Some of these tests will allow for quicker turnarounds than others, and a lot of it's going to be dependent, obviously, on the ability of the testing labs to be able to provide what we need. But I am confident that we will be able to do what's necessary to put in place not only prophylactic and preventive testing, but also quick testing as situations might arise when we see an individual begin to display symptoms of COVID-19. Another one is a question about, even though international students won't face any issue because of in-person classes at CBU, still is there any chance of CBU joining hands with MIT or Harvard against the ICE decision? I mentioned earlier, and maybe the individual who asked this question wasn't at the beginning, we have already signed on to the amicus brief of the President's Alliance on Immigration Matters. CBU has been a proud member of that alliance for a number of years, and I, on behalf of the university, have joined a number of my fellow college and university presidents in signing on to that brief in support of the legal action taken by both MIT and Harvard contesting the ICE directive. As I said earlier, I don't believe it's the legal thing that they did earlier this week in issuing that directive, and it certainly, I don't believe, also is the LaSallian thing. So for those two reasons, I ended up signing on to the amicus brief. Is it still planned, another question, that certain classes may be switched to be online versus in person? When we will know which classes are going to do that? We're trying to keep as many and as all options open for us. We are, as I said earlier, planning for an in-person return. As part of that, we're looking at safe social distancing, assigned seating, and other accommodations within the classroom. We're also looking at flipped classrooms. We're looking at hybrid options. So we will do everything working with Vice President Paul Haught and the deans to make sure that we have in place what works for our students and our faculty, and at the same time provide the high-quality education for which CBU is known. I will ask Vice President Haught to continue to work with Professor Colby Taylor of the Faculty Assembly and others to make sure that this information is disseminated to the faculty and others in a timely manner so that you can provide your very much valued and important input and assistance as well. Another one with question is whether or not faculty while teaching will be required to wear a mask. Yes, the answer is we all are going to be wearing masks here on campus for the foreseeable future. I know that presents a challenge to faculty. We are working on providing additional miking that allow for, hopefully, faculty to be able to teach in a clear fashion even while wearing the mask. Some of the faculty have asked us to purchase the masks that have a clear see-through pane so that individuals can read their lips. We are doing that as well. We'll do everything we can, but it's very important that all of us, every one of us on the LaSalle campus here at CBU, wear a mask as a protective measure, not only for ourselves, but also for each other. The health data is indisputable about the value when two individuals and everyone wear a mask, that it really mitigates the spread of the COVID-19. And while it doesn't completely eliminate it, it brings it down to a very, very low number, and we need to have low numbers across the board right now. Will there be remote options for students who do not feel comfortable returning for health reasons, physical or mental or otherwise? Question being that the answer is yes. We've already had several students come to us and say, because of a health situation, we need to have accommodation. So we will be working with those students and with the faculty members teaching the courses that those students are enrolled for the fall to make those accommodations. If anybody has that type of situation, I would encourage you to contact our COVID-19 email account that you'll hear at the end of the presentation today, or contact Dr. Paul Haught, our Vice President for Academic Affairs, and he will help you in making those accommodations. Another question is, I said that those will be on a case-by-case basis. We also are moving to having more online classes generally at CBU. We had already begun that transition last fall. This summer we did all of our courses online. That has gone very well from what I understand. Students are very excited by that. They felt it worked well for them. We also have been using this summer as part of the work done by Dale Hale and the wonderful group that he leads to provide more instruction and training for our faculty to become even more adept and expert at doing online or hybrid classes. So while we will be in person, we were moving forward anyway with having more online classes. It works for the benefit of some of our students because maybe if you're a student athlete, for example, you're not able to always enroll in the course. So having online options is what is good for us and good for our students. At the same time, that in-person instruction, as I mentioned earlier, is also an important and invaluable part of the LaSallian experience. Another question is, what will happen with fall classes of international students that are unable to enter the U.S. due to a travel ban? Very good question. Once again, we're doing everything we possibly can, including petitioning for the help of our congressional delegation to get all outstanding visa issues addressed. If, unfortunately, we're not successful in all cases, we will work with those individual students, just as I talked about, for those students who might be compromised and unable to come to campus here this fall, to have online and other instruction provided to them. We are absolutely committed to all of our students to make sure that you're able to continue with your education this fall. And that commitment has not diminished in any way as a result of the challenges we're facing. Okay, I think that's all of the questions we have for today. I think it's very important, once again, for me to stress, we all want certainty. I would love to have certainty. My colleagues here, all of our students, everyone would love to have certainty. And I would love to be able to provide the assurance today that we're going to open up without question and that we're going to be able to do so as we have planned and we continue to work towards. Can't do that right now. But what I can assure you that we will continue to evaluate, we will continue to put in place what's necessary for a safe reopening. So when a final decision is made, we are prepared to do what is best for our students, our faculty, and staff, as we always have. Lots of challenges remain, and they're not going to be easy ones for us to navigate and to overcome, but we've been doing on a daily basis. And I go back to those brothers who founded CBU, back then Christian Brothers College, in 1871. They came out of adversity after the aftermath of the Great Chicago Fire to come down the Mississippi to found CBC, which is now CBU. They went through lots of challenges. Somehow, some way they made it because as a community they were strong. As a community they were committed. And I can assure you, even though it's not a brother talking to you today, as someone who's benefited from a LaSallian education, who is part of a LaSallian community, I know that that resolve, that commitment to service and doing the right thing is not diminished in any way. We will continue to monitor and assess data and circumstances. We will continue to report out through our website and other means, including our next presentation on next Thursday afternoon. I want to thank you for your time and attention today, and look forward to seeing you again next Thursday. We will continue to have the opportunity to present questions between these conversations as well as during them. In the meantime, please wear your mask. Wash your hands like your mom and grandmothers taught you. Use hand sanitizer when you can. Maintain these safe social distances. And most importantly, continue to be safe and well. God bless you. May we continue to work together as a LaSallian community to do the right thing for all of our members. St. John Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever. Thank you.